Hi, I'm Patrick Dunnican. At Gibbons, we believe that citizens need to be informed about the complex issues that affect their lives. That's why we're proud to support the programming produced by the Caucus Educational Corporation and their partners in public television.
Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by the New Jersey Education Association, working for great public schools for every child, Wells Fargo, the Adler Aphasia Center, PSE&G, committed to improving New Jersey's economy and strengthening its communities, New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance Group, auto insurance, homeowners insurance, and banking under the principle of stewardship. The law firm of Gibbons PC. Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, making healthcare work. And by Bloomfield College, offering small classes and big opportunities since 1868.
This is One-on-One.
That's good acting, man.
I get that a lot. I go to Atlantic City all the time, like, are you the guy? I go, no, I'm not.
This is one you can't afford to miss.
They thought that I wouldn't survive it, but I knew I would.
Welcome to One-on-One. I'm Steve Adubato. I want to introduce you to the author of a provocative book. You like that word?
Well, I've always lived that way.
Oh, well, he is Herb Stern. Diary of a DA, the true story of the prosecutor who took on the mob, fought corruption, and won. Herb Stern is not only the former U.S. attorney in the great state of New Jersey, but worked in the DA's office in New York. And man, he saw a lot in the 1960s and 70s, and he's an icon. And I want to thank you for joining us.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for having me.
Let's put things in perspective. You were the U.S. attorney in New Jersey during what years?
From 1971 to 74.
Okay. Let's do the Newark piece, selfishly for me, okay? Because you know New York and New Jersey.
Yes.
And you worked in the DA's office in New York from when?
62 to 65.
You know both sides. Oh, before I do the Newark thing, is there a difference between New York corruption and New Jersey corruption?
Takes the money, it's the same beast.
Not that much different.
Not that much different.
Okay.
Still, there was more of it here.
Yeah, and more of it, right? Well, in Newark, where I grew up, as you know, I grew up when the mayor was Adubato.
Yes.
And we had a police director, Dominic Spina.
Yes.
And is it fair to say that the police director had some relationships with members of organized crime?
I think it's more than fair to say that because it is actually true. Adubato put him in, the mob put in Adubato, and Spina was real tight with the mob.
Let's do this, guys. As Judge Stern is talking about this, let's show a picture. This is a picture. Steve Barcy, our cameraman. Describe you Adubato, okay? Describe you Adubato, and then I'm going to show Tony Boy Boiardo, who is the connection. He's being walked out where, Judge?
Well, he's leaving. He's just been sentenced to prison 10 years. He's being let out, and he's handcuffed.
For what?
For extortion, taking money.
He took money from the mob for what?
Gave him contracts. Look, just one contract, for example, the Southside Interceptor Sewer System, which was about 1963, was a $10 million contract. Now, we proved that the contractors who got it took $1 million, washed it through a bank account run by a fellow by the name of Cantor. He was dying of Lou Gehrig's disease, and he testified with his wife as an interpreter. In any event, they took 10%, washed it through, and passed it back to Boiardo, Tony Boy Boiardo, who then paid off half the city administration, including the mayor. One contract, 1962 or $3, $10 million, $1 million going back. Today's money, it would be enormous.
And this is Mafia boss in Newark, Anthony Tony Boy Boiardo, right here. And make the connection, if you will, Judge Stern, Tony Boy Boiardo and the Sopranos.
That's the model. That's the model for Tony Soprano.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So David Chase, in putting it together, said, I'm looking for someone who was tied to these politicians in New Jersey, who was involved in these public contracts. Tony Boy Boyardo, that was the guy.
Well, I think that's right. And you remember David Chase grew up in New Jersey. He grew up around Livingston. And Boyardo's father, Richie the Boot Boyardo.
Richie the Boot.
You remember him?
Absolutely. I know up in the house in Livingston.
Yes.
I know that I heard that underneath the house there may have been...
Not may have been, there was.
What?
A furnace. They had an incinerator. They burned the bodies there.
That's not urban legend.
That's not our... In the book, we have transcripts of them being recorded discussing how they burned the bodies. And, forgive this, Little Pussy Russo is recorded about how
Little Pussy Russo, not to be confused with Big Pussy Russo.
Correct. Both, by the way, both names were used by David Chase in The Sopranos.
That's right. That's right.
That's right, sure.
You lived it. That's a TV show. You lived it.
Yeah, it was fun.
Well,
right.
Let me ask you something. When you were going after these guys,
right,
New York and New Jersey, but on the New Jersey side,
yeah,
was there ever a part of you that ever said, I'm uncomfortable doing this?
Why would I be uncomfortable? I was chasing them. They weren't chasing me.
There was no part of you. When you were growing up, did you say, I want to get the bad guys?
Well, you know, I didn't know about The Sopranos when I was growing up, but when I became an assistant DA in Manhattan, I mean, I was committed to doing that sort of work. And, you know, even in the DA's office there, I fell into the Malcolm X case. You know, I arrested the men who killed Malcolm X.
Murder of Malcolm X.
Yeah.
At the Audubon Ballroom.
Absolutely, February 25th.
Wow. That was your case.
Yeah. Well, it's my case. I caught it, I presented it to the grand jury, and then I left. I went down to the Department of Justice, and then he sent me to New Jersey.
Wow. You know, you've said, not only in the book, but you've said in other interviews, that you feel that in many ways we in the media have glorified organized crime and presented it in such a way where it's just, we don't do justice to how brutal and disgusting they really are. Put it in perspective. Well,
that's absolutely true. You know, we have seen them become a cult, but they were vicious, homicidal, corrupt, and, I mean, just brutal. You know, in the book we described some of it. In court we described a lot of it, and they had to be rooted out. The problem in New Jersey was that nobody had done anything about it for so many years. Look, if you don't take care of your teeth, you're going to have a lot of trouble. There's going to be a lot of rot there. If you go periodically, you'll pull some rot out, but it's never going to get out of control. It was out of control here, totally out. And New Jersey was a joke.
What do you mean?
It was a joke in the nation. Everybody looked at us and said, you know, it's the most corrupt state in the country. Probably was too, because nobody did anything about it for so many years. And you had in Hudson County, which in my opinion in many ways was worse than Newark.
You said it was the most corrupt place in America.
Without a doubt.
Jersey City and Hudson County overall?
Absolutely. You know what we found? This is really shocking.
Go ahead.
We found a bank account in Florida where the mayor of Jersey City and the president of the city council had a joint bank account with $1,231,000 in it in 1965. You know what kind of money that is today?
Multiple millions.
Incredible. They even made the city workers kick back 3% of their salaries. Now, everybody who did work for the city in terms of contractors, suppliers, engineers, they had to kick back.
Everybody's kicking back.
10%.
Well, you couldn't get a contract.
You couldn't work. It was called a way of life. They had to, you know, it started with Frank Hague, who you've heard of, and then John
Frank, I am the law, Hague.
That's exactly right. And then John B. Kennedy took over from him, and then we put him away.
Wow. Today, to what extent do you believe, I mean, Chris Christie we've interviewed many times when he was U.S. Attorney, right, but also as governor many times. To what degree do you believe today, Judge, and again, you were elevated to the court, and so I refer to you as Judge.
It's very nice of you.
Well, you earned it many times over. Judge, to what degree do you believe we still earn the reputation as being a corrupt state?
We don't earn it. It's not true anymore. Look, do we have some corruption? Of course we do. I mean, you're not going to end corruption until you change human nature entirely. But our present situation has nothing to do with what existed in the 60s and the 70s and the 50s and the 40s. You know, you have another TV show, Boardwalk Empire.
Yes.
That's Southern New Jersey. That was the Republican...
Atlantic City, Nucky Thompson. Republicans down there.
Yeah, his real name was Johnson.
Yeah, Nucky Johnson. They changed it.
They changed it. And we got them too. We convicted the mayors of Atlantic City. The place between the corrupt pals, the mob, and then you had the unions. You had Tony Provenzano. Yeah. And then you had a guy named Pete Weber, who actually the Department of Justice had sent me up to. That's how I first came here. Between the racketeers and the politicians and the corrupt labor leaders, there was nothing like it in the United States. You know, there's a real reason why they have these TV shows that seem to focus on New Jersey.
Because it was real.
It was real, sure it was real.
Well, I'll tell you what, folks, we are not doing justice. Speaking about justice, we're not doing justice to this book. We're just barely scratching the surface. It's called Diary of a DA. Herbert J. Stern, the true story, the very true story. A lot of stuff is mythical. This is true. The true story of the prosecutor who took on the mob, fought corruption, and won. I'll tell you, it's great stuff. And by the way, the other thing you'll see in here is a lot of cartoons from the Star Ledger, when Star Ledger cartoons really talk about the impact of those cartoons.
Bill
and
Canfield.
A lot of great pictures of you and your dad in here, too.
Well, it's very important to me.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, for
Just
those
like
of us,
you and your dad.
Absolutely right. And for those of us who are born and raised in this state, particularly if you're born and raised in Newark in an awfully corrupt time and a corrupt community, if it were not for the Herb Sterns of the world, it wouldn't have turned out the way it has in a much better situation. You honor us by being here, Judge.
You honor me by what you said, and I thank you for having me.
Thank you, Judge. Stay right there. One-on-one will continue right after this. Stay with us. Thank you very much.
If you would like more information on this program, or if you'd like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Visit us online at oneonone.org. Or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, PhD.
Right now, we're in the Valley neighborhood of Orange. You know, Hands works only in Orange and East Orange and only in selected neighborhoods. And the vision is that these can be great places to live and should be. And our mission is to ensure that the neighborhoods are good places to raise a family. What we're doing is helping to first stabilize. We worked on that for years, to stabilize the neighborhoods. And now we're really, our vision is revitalization.
That video only scratches the surface of Hands. Patrick Morrissy is the founder and executive director of Hands Incorporated. Good to see you, Pat.
Same here, Steve. Thanks.
That video is part of a much larger piece that talks about the history of your organization. It started in 1986.
Correct.
We go back a long time. You know, I've known about your organization for a long time. It's been a role model for lots of other community organizations. Describe what Hands is.
Well, we're a nonprofit neighborhood change organization, and in 1986 we saw that the neighborhoods of Orange were cycling downward. And
Orange, New Jersey is
Orange, New Jersey. So Orange, New Jersey is a small city right outside of Newark, so it's part of that inner urban core of Essex County. I brought together a group of clergy and community leaders, and we said, let's see what we can do to reverse this cycle of decline.
So interesting. So many people talk about government. They say, you know, we want government to come in and do this. Why can't government do that? It's nothing against government, but because I know a little bit about your background, and I know you're a leader and you know government well, but you opted to do this from a different angle, from a different perspective. Why?
Well, first of all, neighborhoods aren't changed by government agencies or nonprofit organizations. They're changed by the independent actions of hundreds of people acting together around what they think is going on. So we thought that a nonprofit organization that combined both real estate expertise and community organizing could fill the role that the public sector couldn't fill and the private sector at that time was not interested in filling in a place like Orange.
It's interesting. Last time I saw you was at Investors Investors Bank had an initiative where several hundred not-for-profit leaders, and Kevin Cummings was there, and the leader there, and the day was to celebrate the efforts of not-for-profit organizations. But you do work with for-profit entities like investors and others. What is the role of the private sector in supporting initiatives like this?
Well, here's the ticket. The trick has been, how do we ignite a movement for innovation and creativity and renewal in Orange? Because once you do that, then you begin attracting resources. And we've attracted some important institutions.
Pat, talk us through this Valley Arts District, which is a big success story you've been involved in. Let's talk about this. These are some before and after pictures of the work you've done. Talk this through, Pat.
Sure. So this building that you see is a kind of a homely, plain combination of 3 buildings attached together, vacant at the time, and we transformed it into a theater. So today it's got 2 black box theaters, it's got a cafe, it has 6 artists working upstairs, and it's got a police substation attached to it.
You know, it's so interesting, the Valley Arts District. What are you guys doing involved in the arts? I thought it was economic development.
The art, you know, it's interesting, the arts is really the vehicle for community renewal, including economic development, advancing education achievement, providing new careers for young people, a new spirit, of course, for the neighborhood, beautifying the neighborhood, attracting new businesses. It's all there in the arts, if you work at it.
The other piece of the equation that we've talked about, I've heard you talk about the real estate strategy. What is the real estate strategy at hand?
Well, 1995 is about when Orange hit bottom. 1 out of 10 homes in Orange were vacant and deteriorated. We knew we had to do something about the physical place, and that really meant some of the worst buildings. So we set to work. By 2008, that number, which had been nearly 400, 1 in 10, was down to 49. People began getting a sense that Orange is moving ahead. And then we were able to ignite.
What are we looking at right there, by the way?
Oh, we're looking at a closed and sorry restaurant. That was 4 years ago.
Right.
That's down in the valley. There you go. So that's it today. So that's Hat City Kitchen.
Yeah, I know it.
Hat City Kitchen is a bar, restaurant, and live music venue. We got live music 5 nights a week and every other Sunday. We redeveloped that building, Hands did, and we own the business.
You own the business?
We own the business.
People have such, you know, people talk about nonprofits, they think they know what they are. Nonprofits are entrepreneurial, they're community-based, they make a huge difference, and it takes real leadership like that you're providing. Pat Morrissy is the founder and executive director of Hands. They've been doing it since 1986, and they are making a huge impact in Orange and East Orange to some extent, but mostly in Orange. Pat, we wish you nothing but the best in the future, and it's good stuff.
Thanks, Steve.
One-on-one will continue right after this.
If you would like more information on this program, or if you'd like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Visit us online at oneonone.org. Or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, PhD.
Dr. Yukiko Kimura is Section Chief of Pediatric Rheumatology at Joseph Sanzari Children's Hospital at Hackensack University Medical Center. Good to see you, Doctor.
Nice to see you too, Steve.
This is an area we have not touched on. Juvenile pediatric rheumatic diseases. There's so many of them. But I keep thinking, are we talking about arthritis? Or is arthritis a piece of this larger equation?
Well, both things, actually. You know, pediatric rheumatic diseases are a big sort of conglomerate of different diseases.
By the way, what does rheumatic mean?
Usually people think of it as affecting the joint or causing inflammation in some way. And arthritis is a big piece of it, usually. You know, people are surprised when they hear about what I do because they think, arthritis, kids? I mean, how do those two things go together?
It didn't add up for me.
But actually, arthritis is one of the most common chronic diseases in kids. People don't realize that. Even doctors don't know that, actually. And so we need to really get the word out there that it's really a common problem. It affects probably at least 1 in 1,000 kids out there in the United States, and we have so many new and exciting and effective treatments now that really affect the outcome, especially if you can treat it early. So we need to find them early.
Talk about some of the treatments that cause us to be hopeful.
Well, I mean, 10 years ago even, or 15 years ago, we used to have kids who commonly were quite disabled, had deformities in their joints and their bones, had poor growth, etc. And now we hardly ever see that anymore because these treatments, and there are so many out there now, these new biologic treatments that are so effective that you can hardly tell that there's anything wrong with them, these kids.
Doctor, is there any difference between the way you would treat a child? I know every case is case by case, right? Is there any difference between the way you would treat a child with arthritis as opposed to an adult?
In some respects, yes, but a lot of the medications are the same.
Different dosage?
Different dosages, and it really depends on the type of arthritis the child has, because in contrast to the types of arthritis that we see commonly in adults, the ones that happen in children can be very different and have different, ways of manifesting themselves, and may respond differently to medications. So you have to really be sensitive and knowledgeable about that and know how best to treat them, and know how, really about how you can use these medications safely, I guess.
Let me ask you about one of them. JIA.
Right.
Juvenile Idiopathic Arthritis.
Right.
What is that, and why does the literature talk about it so much?
Well, it actually is a relatively new terminology that's come into use about in the last 10 years. People used to call arthritis in kids JRA, or juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, but as I just said, rheumatoid arthritis per se is pretty rare in kids, and so there was an international kind of symposium of experts that sort of tried to agree on some terminology, common terminology, and that's where it came from.
It's more about language than anything else?
It's language and how to identify and classify these kids, because there are about 6 or 7 or even possibly more different types of arthritis that
For
are
parents, I'm sorry for interrupting, Doctor.
That's
For parents who are watching right now, what symptoms should they be looking for in children?
Pain, joint pain, pain in their legs, their arms, swelling of the joints are the most common things, or limping, especially if kids can't really express how they feel or what hurts. They may see it in changes in their behavior, or a kid who previously was able to walk, who isn't able to walk as well as they could, or goes back to crawling, stiffness in the morning, or irritability, or an inability to stand up, in the crib in the morning. Those kinds of things are probably important to look for.
Well, let me ask you, parents take the child into the pediatrician. Are most pediatricians trained to pick it up?
Well, pediatricians are pretty good. I mean, they pay attention when kids come in complaining of pain.
Are they looking for this?
That's the problem. I think that because it's not well known how common it is.
Yeah, because, excuse me, you started this interview by saying many physicians don't even know about it. So therefore, I'm thinking, okay.
Well, they know about it in theory, but they don't know how common it is. So immediately when a kid comes in complaining of pain, they think something's broken, there's a sprain, there's something else going on, and so
arthritis is not on the radar.
Exactly.
And it should be.
It should be, absolutely. Absolutely.
Does early detection and diagnosis matter much in terms of the outcome? Go ahead.
Absolutely. Like I said earlier, there's so many new and very effective treatments out there. So the earlier we can treat these kids, the better the outcome. Unfortunately, I still see kids sometimes who have suffered for months, sometimes years. I mean, recently I saw a teenager who's 18 who's probably had really terrible arthritis since she was 8 years old.
And not diagnosed early on?
No.
Could have made a difference?
Absolutely.
You can't cure it, I want to be clear.
No, you can't cure it, unfortunately. But some kids do go into remission, meaning that it goes away.
Early detection matters.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Getting the right doctor, the right treatment matters.
It's critical.
Okay.
Critical.
Doctor, You said people can call you?
Yuki.
Dr. Yukiko Kimura. I want to thank you for joining us. This is an important area, and people should consider this as a possibility and not put it off the table.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Doctor. We appreciate it.
Thank
we learned
you.
a lot. It was very helpful.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Now let's continue the conversation about this and other important topics and issues on Facebook. Visit my page at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, PhD.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by the New Jersey Education Association, working for great public schools for every child, Wells Fargo, the Adler Aphasia Center, PSE&G, committed to improving New Jersey's economy and strengthening its communities. New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance Group, auto insurance, homeowners insurance, and banking under the principle of stewardship. The law firm of Gibbons PC. Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, making healthcare work. And by Bloomfield College, offering small classes and big opportunities since 1868. Promotional support provided by the Star Ledger and NJ.com, Everything Jersey, and by NJ Biz, All Business, All New Jersey. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been produced in partnership with St. Joseph's Healthcare System.
When you work at a public school, you're a part of the community. So when Superstorm Sandy hit, the school employees jumped right in to help. The middle school here served as a refuge for people who were forced from their homes. We all pitched in to help. Custodians, cafeteria workers, teacher aides, mechanics, groundskeepers, all pitching in to help out. School employees are part of a team, whether it's to help educate our children or to recover from a terrible tragedy. That's why I'm so proud to be a member of the NJEA.
Hello, I'm Rafael P. Roman.
And I'm Steve Adubato.
Join us every week on New Jersey Capitol Report.
Because we'll ask the questions that you want and need answered.
Airing on NJTV, 13 and WHYY. Check your local listings.